All right, so we're in the shop working today. Kind of snuck my own car up on the rack. This is my 1959 Vespa 400 microcar. We'll do a little walk around. It's a cute little bug thing. I've had it for, when did I get this thing? 2009, I believe. So we're talking 12 years already. Wow, time flies. It is not a, see if I can zoom out a little bit. I just filled your whole screen with Vespa. Sounds like a dirty term, but it's actually a good thing. So this is my Vespa 400 microcar. It's a 1959. I think I just said that. I put it up on the lift because I noticed that my camber was weird. Like this side, the camber's fine, but the other side, the rear top of the rear wheel was kicked in, and I was like, what's going on? And boy, did I find a problem, dang it. It's always something. So it's Volkswagen powered, dual port 1600 with, I don't know, 40 horsepower. It doesn't have a lot of power. It's really torquey and it's super fun. And I got the hubcap off here. I was looking around. I was like, why has this thing got so much camber? Let's take a look underneath. You're going to, well, I was surprised. So if you look up in here, we've got Volkswagen rear drums. We've got a homemade bearing holder I just rebuilt not too long ago. And then super stubby short, super short Volkswagen IRS. Or are they swing arms? I don't know. The CV axles, I guess it's swing arms. And modified Volkswagen well, not everything. Custom suspension here, some control arms, really custom spring setup, kind of janky with springs and air shocks, but it is what it is. I bought the car this way. I'm not happy about the e-brakes. I've been trying to figure a workaround, but you can probably see what I'm looking at right here. So this custom control arm that goes up to this big bushing here, it ripped. It like ripped in half, like the whole other side is ripped. If I get my fingers up in there, it looks like somebody heated it up and bent it, and it just fatigued. Probably from me doing wheelies, burnouts. This is our brake line hardware that's kind of come apart. But this is concerning to me. That's kind of a big deal. My control arm ripped. You can see this one here looks really good on this side. Nice and stout. Got some new bolts in there. So I'm going to take this apart and figure out how I can weld that back together, get the alignment back to the way it should be, and fix that. That's not safe. So the rest of this car is not really great. You can see it's got patched floors, janky e-brake, which has never functioned right. I just haven't had the time to really fix stuff up. I've had a lot of fun with this car. It has a 4-speed transmission. I'm not sure of the gear ratio, but it's pretty low. Not a freeway flyer. And then we've got our dual port 1600, which is in okay shape. It doesn't leak much, but it's got crankshaft end play. I think my motor mounts are really soft. So I've been thinking about rebuilding it, but just haven't had time. It runs perfect. Other than the crankshaft in play, it's been a perfect little car. Anyhow, let's get this wheel off here. I want to get a closer look at that control arm and see how I can fix it. All right, so we're taking a look at my hot rod Vespa here with the, turn the light on, see what we're talking about. We've got Volkswagen drivetrain in a 59 Vespa. The body's been altered for the wheel arches and some of the rear lights and stuff. Take a lot of work to put this thing back to stock Vespa, and we're admiring someone else's handiwork here from probably the 70s. I've fixed some of the stuff, but you got to admire it because it's so janky that there's not much else you can do. It's all made out of big plate steel. You can see we've got this big plate that kind of, how do I say this, it bolts like a sandwich, and then it makes an L shape, and then it connects to where the torsion bars would be on a Volkswagen rear suspension. Obviously Volkswagen wouldn't have this big inset. I don't even know if the torsion bars are in there. I think they are. I've never looked, and I'm starting to think they might not be because we've got a spring holding up the rear suspension on this little fabricated kind of a sub-assembly. And then we've got air shocks as well, which seems like those hold the car up better than anything else. I never thought there might not be torsion bars in there, but I'm sort of suspecting there's not. So the problem is, I'm rambling on, that's the problem. This control arm that goes to this big pivot point is cracked, and somehow something is bending and causing really bad camber. So I don't see any way to fix this on the car. I've got to get these bolts out, which means I got to get this lower spring perch out, take the spring out, and see if I can spin this up to weld the inside of that on the car, because there is no way I can get that big bolt out either side, and see if I can fix this crack correctly, and hope that it'll bring my alignment back into spec. So I'm going to work on that, although today's not the day, because I was not planning on having a major project on my hands. And this car is so rear heavy that it will flip off the lift. In other words, there's no weight on the front. So if I start working back here and wiggling things and bending and pulling, I got to strap the front of the car down. Otherwise, it'll basically just flip right off the lift. So it's actually safer to work on the ground, is what I found, to work on this car, because I don't want the car flipping on the lift and injuring myself. So this may be a project for tomorrow, but that's what's going on with the Vespa, in case you're wondering. And we're going to get to it again soon, shortly, but I just got to keep working on it. And like I said, this is unexpected. It is what it is.